Hello ladies and gentlemen, Safehouse here and welcome to my tanking guide for ESO. Tanking in ESO is a lot different to other games because your trash pools and stuff that involves more than one mob is really about controlling and CC rather than aggro. Because you only have the one taunt that you get from the sword and board, there is another one from the undaunted line, but I wouldn't really worry about it. It's not that effective or any better than the one you get from the sword and board. So that is a single target taunt that you can see me using on this boss here. In the background you just be seeing me running through a dungeon. I'll be able to use some examples through that as well. But as I was saying, group tanking is really about AoE CC and not about holding aggro. So abilities like Burning Talons, I know the mages have an AoE route in place as well. I'm going to be likening most of these to Dragon Knights because Dragon Knight's going to be the main tank that people are going to be playing, and that's what I have run all the way through Elder Scrolls Online with, so it's going to be a little bit more easy for me to relate back to that. So don't go around trying to taunt everything because you will run out of stamina. You need to rely on your DPS to be able to handle those trash mobs themselves because everyone has quite a bit of CC in Elder Scrolls. Also, while you're leveling, you may want to consider putting a few points into stamina, and then once you get to 50, buying a reset and putting some of the health, because stamina is a really big thing. It's where all your blocking comes from, it's where your taunt comes from, and once you do run out of stamina and you can't block, you will notice once you start to get some of the harder dungeons, you're going to take a lot of damage and you'll die very, very quickly. Also, how far you are from the mobs does make a big difference on the aggro. I've noticed if it's a bit difficult for melee DPS, but if you are a ranged DPS especially, just try and stay away from those mobs and CC them away from you, because if you are close, you can pull aggro very, very easily. But the main thing about tanking is really focusing on that blocking and keeping enough stamina. I've found that you're generally going to want to be using stamina pots instead of health pots. Like, I actually have health pots on at the moment, but you're generally going to be using your stamina pots the most because you really do need to have stamina, otherwise it's just not going to be effective because you can't taunt and you can't block. It's not really standard in a lot of other MMOs that you have to block, but you really do, like, especially if you have the stamina, you've got some good regen and stuff, if you can just stand there blocking constantly and you have the passive ability that reduces the cost of your shield bash, you can just sit there blocking and shield bashing all day long. Obviously you can't spam the shield bash, but it does do a lot of damage. In boss fights, when it's only that single target, you really need to make sure you space out those taunts at the 15-second intervals, because it does last for 15 seconds and you really don't want to be wasting stamina that you don't need to waste, because it doesn't cost a whole lot, but it does use up a fair amount that you could be used for blocking, dodging and that kind of thing. Just one thing on dodging while I'm at it, it generally isn't worth to dodge because it takes a huge chunk of your stamina bar. I believe it's a percentage rather than a set amount. You're better off just standing there blocking whatever is coming and just taking the damage. I think it goes without saying, make sure you block special attacks, especially from bosses, because they often have special effects and can sometimes one-shot you. So obviously just make sure you're blocking them. There's also a few add-ons that are great for tanking. I cover most of them in my add-ons video that I will chuck down in the description for you to check out as well. If you're looking for some cool add-ons, I cover all of the ones that I'm using. I'm not using a lot of them in this video, but the ones that I do use now are all in this other video, and a lot of them help for tanking and just general stuff in ESO. Also, if you have a self-heal like the Dragon Knight has, Green Dragon Blood there that I am using, make sure you use it because it is a really invaluable ability. Some of the healing in ESO isn't huge, so it really does help you out. It is probably the second best ability you can have as a tank behind Burning Talons, because it's all about that AoE CC in the group pulls. And just a few general MMO things, make sure you face bosses away from your party, because a lot of them do have frontal AoE cones and that kind of thing. Not many have the backwards ones, so it really just helps out your group if you're doing that. Also, make sure your party has enough time to generate magicka, stamina and health before each pull. I know it can be hard when you can only see the health bars because of the changes that ZeniMax did make. We don't have access to the other players' magicka and stamina, so it makes it a little bit harder, because in the beta we could, but just make sure you're giving them a fair amount of time. No need to take ages, but you really do want to make sure everyone's ready for the fight. But I hope this helped you out, guys. If you have any other questions on tanking in ESO, please do ask. I will also chuck a link to my tank build so you know what I am using and abilities and that kind of stuff. You can see most of them on screen, but I have changed a few since then. So good luck, and I hope to see you next time, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and if this video helped you out or you just enjoyed it, please smack that like button, or you can also subscribe to my channel for more videos similar to this one. Thanks, guys.